Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to another episode of the Quantum Self-Healing Toolkit, the radio show for the health-conscious soul here on Energy Medicine Exchange Radio Network. My name is Lydia Proschinger and I'm your host for the next 60 minutes, for which you're invited to take full responsibility when we share self-healing tools with you live on the radio. For your own benefit, get involved. Join us in our conversations and join our Facebook group, Energy Medicine Exchange. Participate in the global dialogue that continues between healthcare providers and energy medicine and energy psychology practitioners who want to inform, educate, and share the cutting-edge technology with you. Learn about your body's intrinsic ability to heal itself. Welcome, dear listeners. My name is Lydia Proschinger. Obviously, I'm here today with somebody who will help the helpers. Many times I've come across in my coaching practice about, in the last, 6 years or so, that ultimate goal to reach a better level of business and a greater clientele is really to know not only what you're doing, but also how you are doing it and how you're communicating it to the people that you need to serve. And there is a world famous psychic, Edgar Cayce, who said, "A man that don't think much of himself just ain't worth much." Now, you may disagree or agree with me, but here is the thing. Unless you have a desire to get stuck in your business financially, you will need to find a way to be progressively building your business, and this show is dedicated to helping you exactly with that. And obviously, we're doing this for free. We want you to be successful in which direction that you go with your healing and helping business. So if you are in a mood to join in to the call and to be live on the show asking questions, we will have an expert who can help you with this and who will be answering questions. Meera Shah is a highly sought after career coach in the UK with a background in the corporate world ranging from Unilever to Goldman Sachs to HSBC. Meera can look back on a very successful career in financial services. And in addition to her wealth of corporate experience, her unique blend of hard and soft strategies, which she spices up with spirit, spark, and intuition, makes her stand out from all other career coaches. She's helped many people getting unstuck and developing her business, and she's also now here to help you. She's developed a coaching model called the RID coaching model, which has helped so many clients of her excel in the careers. And the key here is that she found with her clients that it was important, if not the most important part, to value yourself, including to trust and believe in not only what you're doing, but in who you are. The first step is in her coaching model to get this correct. So I'm going to bring her on air now. Hello, Meera.
Hi, Lydia.
Welcome to the show. Looking forward to our discussion today, because this is helping actually the helpers out there who are determined to get their business going and to have more clients and serve in a better way, in a larger way. So thank you for making time for us today.
And thank you. I'm excited to be on your show.
So tell me, how did you get into helping people help themselves?
So I have a background, as we did mention in the introduction. I've worked in the corporate environment for a long time. But I had a desire to help people, and I had a desire to work for myself, and I had a big, big desire to help other people in a way that I wanted to do it myself. And I managed to bring in my coaching and all my experience with my personal development. And the natural next step for me was to go into coaching. And I've been doing it for the last few years. And I'm now specialized in career coaching, but there's such a big overlap between coaching and career coaching, because people are people at the end of the day. And a lot of what you mentioned, I come across all the time, is about the self-belief and valuing yourself, which I'm sure we'll be talking about a bit more later.
No, I think, from the background that I have, I've experienced people not really asking for business, expecting it to come to them rather than going out to get it. And obviously you're stuck with your services that are probably the most brilliant things that you could offer somebody to help them. And, still healers are really, really stuck in that frame of mind that charging is not spiritual, or that it is difficult to ask somebody for money who's already in pain, and all of those things. Maybe some other reasons why healers in particular have such difficulty asking for their business.
Yeah, so in addition to what you've said, I think sometimes there's a big reason is that it's a lack of self-belief. So people aren't sure exactly about the difference they're making, or they don't believe in themselves completely because maybe they haven't had enough experience. And so they almost feel guilty charging because they don't believe in themselves. They don't know how to price what they're offering, and they feel guilty. So that self-belief, I've found in a lot of clients I work with, the self-belief is really, for me, the biggest factor why people have trouble charging. And the other two reasons I would say is, one, I think, is also because it's like a free gift from God or from the universe on their channel. And so they create a conflict that they've been given this free gift, and they have a deep desire to serve other people. So charging for that free gift causes a lot of conflict for some people within themselves. And then the third biggest reason I find is that they feel guilty because once you put a price on something, that means a few people who might need your services might not be able to afford them. And people don't really want to exclude people who can't afford their services. So I've seen in all my work, those tend to be like the three main reasons people have charging difficulties.
Right. Now, I believe you're right. I believe there is a lot more deep down in their hearts. They are deserving of reward for what they're doing, and they also spend their time with the client, which is an investment that they can never get back. So I believe that a lot of growth about not only self-belief, but also the deservingness of what really is of value here is a great change that needs to happen in the mindset, so that they understand that yes, they are deserving of something that comes their way, and people are willing to pay it. I'm sure that if people go to a doctor, they cannot go back and just say thank you with a smile and the doctor will be happy with it. Perhaps there are some doctors who do this pro bono, and some who are really in this for particularly selfless and altruistic reasons. But why do you think it is actually imperative to charge, for your healing services? Let's just get really to the nitty-gritty, because I really think that it is really imperative to charge, not just optional. Because if you're running a business and if you have expenses that you need to cover, you have to have money coming in.
You're absolutely right. And what you said is spot on. It goes back to the self-belief where you're mentioning about the deserving. And if your self-belief isn't right, or you're not clear what value you bring, people often in the lack of self-esteem also aren't sure that they deserve to charge or they deserve success or they deserve money. So that's also another hindrance that people have. So yeah, I like that. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. So why it's imperative to charge? So one of the main reasons you should charge is you've been given a gift, but you need to fine-tune that gift with training, with courses, with research. You may want to write a book. And by doing all those things, you can actually reach out and help more people. But the funny thing is you have to charge in order to be able to train and able to take some time out to research in order to write a book. So if you want to help more people, you kind of need the resources to be able to help more people. So I think that's one thing people forget, that they want to help so much. It's like, well, in order to help more people, if you do all those things, actually you will be able to help an even wider audience. And if you think about all the, all the big spiritual people, because we're on the healing show, if we think about Louis Hay, for example, people like that always charge. But as a result of charging, they've been able to write books, they've been able to research, and then they've been able to reach a much wider audience and help more people. So you kind of need that money to be able to actually get a wider reach.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason is also, if you're telling your clients healing comes from a place of valuing and loving yourself, you need to demonstrate and be an example of loving and valuing yourself. And you need to value yourself and eat and live respectfully. You need to fulfill your own dreams so that the clients who come to you respect you and they say, oh, this person respects their life, and they pick up that respectful energy from you. And quite often, if you are not charging, that sometimes sends a message that you're not sure what you're worth or you're not sure what your worth is. And then the clients will not value that healing or that service in that same light. Whereas if you are so sure of yourself that you charge, they will kind of feel that value and respect from you. So that's a really big reason to charge. They will take you much more seriously if you take yourself seriously, if I put it that bluntly.
Mm-hmm.
And a really, really important thing, I think, is what people tend to forget is that, most people don't want things for free. I know people say they want things for free, but when somebody's giving you something, you want to give something back. And even if you think about your friends or family, for example, if for you and it's really made a difference, you will want to show your appreciation or thanks back in a certain way, and there's a nice exchange of energy. So in this context, the exchange of energy will be the money. And so when a client actually is paying money, they're also committing to the healing themselves. They're showing that they're committed to this healing. They're willing to put in the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then a lot of clients, the money is tied to commitment. And people will pay for what they find valuable and what they want to commit to. So if they're willing to pay you, that means they're willing to commit to their own healing.
Right.
And if they don't have the money, they will always find a way to get that money. And that means they're really, really committed and value that healing. And part of the healing, as we know, is, of course, in the mind. And I've noticed this with my coaching. Whenever I offer free coaching or I've, done clients for free who couldn't afford it, they didn't take it seriously. It's always the way.
I think this is a very, very important point that you're making. We have a few people asking questions on our chat, so we would like to address them and acknowledge them so that, they know that we hear them. So one of the questions that is being asked is how much is too much, and that is EFT Hub Radio asking.
Okay, how much is too much? Well, what value, I would go back to them and say, what value would you put on your service? Is there a value you would put on it? To someone else, that's priceless.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to put a value on your service, but I think one of the ways you could value what you do is to look at what your competitors are doing or what the market price is or what feels right, and then you can charge using your experience against your competitor in the market price. That's one route you can take.
Mm-hmm. And what if a person just cannot afford your services but really, really needs it? And you know how you know how empaths are. They will go above and beyond trying to help somebody, regardless whether or not they're going to pay them. But you know, this is creating a negative potential for them in their business. So if people think that they can just get it for free, or you know, if they just can really not afford it, what would you suggest they do with such client?
I would say 2 or 3 things. I think rather than wait for the clients to come and then you decide whether you want to help them or not, I think at the start you may decide to do a few free seminars or a few free workshops, and then you can direct them to those few free things that you may do. Like, for example, Lydia, what you're doing on this show, you might direct them to books, or you might direct them to some free things that you already do. I personally, on a client-by-client basis, don't do free things. I'd empathize with them. I might direct them where they might be able to get, some free services. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I would just suggest that, if they are committed, they will find the money. And when they find the money, that's part of the healing already when they go looking for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're already valuing it. So they will find the money. They'll get resourceful.
Right, but a lot of times,
but it was.
Yes, a lot of times, and this is what I've experienced also, is those healers who do not value themselves but know that they have a great gift also attract clients who don't value themselves. So it's kind of a gridlock between wanting to help but also wanting to cover your bills. So how would you suggest that they understand that helping them for free is not valuing your own gift?
So, yeah, it's exactly what you said. First of all, if you're already showing that you're compromisable, you've already sent a message to the universe that, well, I am a bit compromisable, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. I can be flexible about my gift. So, yeah, you will attract those kind of clients. And I think you really need to be clear and say, look, I'm being of value. Say you go to the supermarket and you really want a bar of chocolate and you can't afford it. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go find the money and go and get that bar of chocolate. When you do get it, it'll be of much more value. So I would say really get clear about your value and just don't compromise your value, and know that they will come to you when the time is right, when they're ready for your healing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, there's a thing, if I would have continued doing what I was doing in 2009, I would still be, at the verge of basically overworking myself and burning myself out, and just to help others who are really not valuing what I was doing. So this is what I was doing, and I'm very transparent here. I'm not trying to portray the picture that I'm perfect and that I'm immune to these sort of issues, but I've had to work through them, on a daily basis, getting to grips with the idea that, well, I have 3 children, I have my house to pay, I have a lot of groceries to pay all the time, I have lots of bills that I need to pay. All of those things needed to matter first before I could basically go and help others, doing what they need for their healing. I think the principle here is that you have to first be your best friend first and look out for yourself first before you can really help others. And this is also here in some ways relating to the self-worth, but also by placing your clients before you, there is a chance that you give them the impression that you're not really valuing your gift. And so I'm just recapping again. Meera Shah here in my interview today is helping people get clear on what it means to charge and how imperative it is to do so, because when you have, I mean, anybody who has a greater income can also do some charitable work. I think this is, something that anybody would do, and I've been approached many times through Facebook. You do cover your expenses by charging, and if there is a surplus, and if there is enough surplus so that you can allow somebody else to come in and say, okay, well, you don't need to pay me right now, or you don't pay at all, you just give in exchange something you feel is of value. There is so much more flexibility, and you get out of the very stressful situations that some healers get into, because they want to create, they want to also live, and that's the part that needs to not be underestimated. So how do you go about charging? How do you really go into that frame of mind, saying, okay, well, I need to place a price on something invisible, something intangible, something that's really, people might even forget that ever happened. When they walk away, like in EFT, we call this the apex effect. People get helped and they never return because they have been helped so much that they don't need it anymore and forget that you've ever given them the support. So how do you go about charging?
So the first thing is really get your value right. Actually be clear. If I was to meet you in the street and I said to you, look, I know you're a healer. Are you any good at what you do? You need to be able to say, yeah, I am really good at what I do, and that's why I charge, because I want to help more people, and, I'm really committed to this, and I really respect and value what I do. And anybody who has a gift, a painter, an artist, it's a gift. We all have different gifts, and everybody values their gifts and charges them. So I would say really, really be clear on your self-belief and the value of your gift. If you're not sure and you're hesitating about, I'm not sure how good I am or how good my gift is, you better go back and fix that belief first, I would say. Go and heal yourself of that belief. But once you've got that belief strong and you're like, you know what, I deserve this, I'm really good at what I do and I help people and I deserve to, be successful and charge for it, then some of the practical ways of charging is, one of the things I mentioned was to look at your competitors and see what they do and see what the market price is for what you do. Because at the end of the day, then you need to put aside your emotions and treat it like a really tough business, because it is a business at the end of the day. And business is all about market price and buying and selling. So then you really need to get into a hardcore business mind. And how do most businesses charge? It's market price, it's competitors, and then you flex it based on your experience. You might offer different packages if people sign up for, many sessions versus one. But set your plans in advance, and that's it, Then don't be flexible on that. That shows that you're actually serious about business. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say is always take payment before the session. Because you know what? That means people will not cancel last minute. The people who book will be the people who are seriously committed to healing. And I've noticed once people pay, they will move the earth and mountains to turn up for something. Mm-hmm. And part of them paying up front is their commitment. But the other thing also is that, then you want your session to be about the therapy and the energy. You don't want money to cloud that healing session. So once the money is out of the way, they show up, then in the session you're just focusing on the healing. You're not clouding it with any kind of money and financial issues, and that helps too. Mm-hmm. So I would say those are the main ways to charge. And of course, a lot of healers are quite intuitive. So you can use your intuition if that guides you. But be really tough and remember it's a business. If you need to get a business coach to help you kind of get in the business mindset, then it's almost worth doing that as well.
No, I think what you just said is really important for healers to be intuitive about it. And one of the practical tools that I've been using is applied kinesiology, and I'm just going to share that if you don't mind, because I think what people underestimate is their inner knowing and the ability to really get clear on what it is that they can charge from from just kind of guidance from within. So if you write down, for instance, three different prices that you would put on a product or on a session, and you put them on a piece of paper, you fold it together and you just take it in your hand and you stand up straight, and you will find yourself either moving towards it or moving back from it, which is your intrinsic system of saying yes when you move forward or just saying no when you move backwards. And it's in that way that I've taken the three different papers, and with one or the other, it will move forward, or it will your body will move backwards. And that way, I've made the decisions on what prices that I can charge for certain services and certain packages and sessions. That is when you say about intuition, it's your own gut feeling that will respond to it without you knowing what kind of paper you've chosen, what kind of a price you're actually agreeing to. It worked many times for me and also for the clients that I've been serving. So this is one of the tools that people can take away, because this is the Quantum Self-Healing Toolkit, and we're talking about self-healing your business. When you're in a healing business, this is what you need to get right. So obviously you also want to help people directly. So if you're available for sessions, or if there's something that you would like to discuss with them personally. Meera, are you still on the line? Okay, I think I've lost Meera. Hello? Okay, I'm not sure if I'm still transmitting here. This is unfortunate. I don't know whether I can be heard. Can you hear me? Transmission has gone fuzzy. Hello? 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 I have unmuted a caller, so I don't know exactly whether you can hear me. Hello? Oh, this is not good. Okay, well, people say I can be heard, so I'm going to just unmute this caller again. Hello, the next caller I've unmuted has all one number here, so maybe you can introduce yourself. Hello? Ah, this is not good. I cannot hear you. Sorry. Okay, well, let me just go over the particular effort that we have done today to help healers know what to charge. And obviously, the bottom line is to value your gift, to value yourself, and to remind yourself that you have an amazing worth for your client. And Yes, indeed, you need to charge because you have to cover your sustenance, and also if you charge your value, you will also make the other person value what you're giving them more, and you will have a surplus from which you can give even more to the clients that you're serving. So either you run a charity or you run a business. So yes, you have to make tough choices in order to be able to continue your business. I believe that here is another caller. So hello, I've unmuted you, 3488 at the end of your number.
Hi, Lydia. I don't know what happened there, but it's me, Meera. I've dialed back in.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for dialing back in here. The interview is actually already coming to an end because we have 30 minutes that we agreed to actually to talk today. But maybe you can just still cover some of the basics that people would need to do in order to help themselves get through this pricing dilemma, and what they would do to basically work on their business goals in terms of finances and their income. How would you go about it?
So I would say you did a really nice recap. So just to reiterate what you said, first of all, acknowledge your healing is a gift. And if you want to serve people, you can serve people better by charging, and therefore you'll be able to reach a wider audience through your research, through your books. So that's a good reason to charge, just to help other people. Also, a fair price is what you charge, because the price you charge tells people how much you value your healing and how much they should value your healing. So that's another reason to charge. And the third one, of course, you have to decide, is your healing charity or business? And if it's business, business is tough. You have to get tough and think of it as a business. Out with the pricing. In this session, just be a healer. But outside the healing, with the pricing, think very business-minded. And that's a reflection of how you're valuing yourself.
Exactly. Now, obviously, we want people to benefit from this show directly by also taking contact with you. So how can they get in touch with you if they want to work with you, if they want to buy a product that you are offering?
Yeah, so I run a program called the 4 Fastest Ways to Advance Your Career. But like you say, my model, the first step is all around the self-belief and the pricing and the fair value. So if they want to get in touch with me, they can find me on www.meeracareercoaching.com. At the moment, I'm doing one-to-one coaching, but I'm in the middle of writing an ebook, and I'm in the middle of doing some webinars, and I'm going to be soon doing some workshops. So if they sign up on my website, what I will offer people on your show is up to June on any products that they want from me. If they quote your show, I can offer them 20% off to June.
Okay. Well, that's very generous of you. The other products
are coming on. Yeah. So I hope people can value themselves, because that's what I love doing.
I'm copying your link to your free gift on your website on the chat room here, and I hope that people will subscribe to your list so that they can keep in touch with you and for the further service that you can offer them. I have another caller who's going to join us in a moment, so maybe you just give our listeners another thumbs up for the work that they're doing, and also one last thought that you'd like to share.
Yeah, sure. So I would just say to your listeners, as you're walking around, just literally think about how much you value yourself, and that's reflected in all your work. And if you want other people to value what you do, value yourself. And really, a beautiful, beautiful affirmation I do all the time is, I deserve this. And that just works 200 times a day. If they go around saying, I deserve this, I deserve to be good, I've seen magnificent results from it.
Right. Now, obviously, we would love to talk about this a little bit more some other time. Maybe next time we can go into some more other details about it. So thank you so much for making time today. and for sharing this valuable information and for helping those that help others in such a great way. Thank you so much, Meera Shah from the UK.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to be on your show. And if anyone has any questions, obviously I know we didn't have a lot of time, they can email me. I'm happy to answer some questions by email if people want to email me with just general questions that they didn't get to cover on the show.
Okay. Well, that's very generous. So thank you so much. And I'm going to mute you again, so if you want to listen on, you can. Or do you want to if you want to raise your hand, you can always press 1 on your telephone, and you'll signal that you would like to join the call again. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
I'll stay on, and if I want to say anything, I'll press 1.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Hello. This is a 6502 number at the end.
Hi, yes, this is Haroon Rabbani. Hello, Lydia.
Hi. Well, glad you can make it today.
Absolutely.
How is everything over there? Where are you calling from?
I'm hailing from London, and it's freezing cold, and I'm right next to a heater. So I'm trying to keep. My body was not designed for London weather, I have to admit. I was born in a warm country, and I need to go back to a warm country sooner rather than later. But it's been 40 years, so I've got to maybe start making my move soon.
Absolutely. No, I can relate this to this. I have been born in Germany, but I think that I'm on the body heat level, I'm probably African or something, because I just cannot stand the cold. So, but listen, it's a great thing that you called, because you also have a spiritual and holistic business, and you are probably doing quite well in it. So why don't you give us a little bit of a background about yourself, and how you help others help themselves?
Okay, I mean, there's a number of things. I mean, I started in business from the age of 12. When I say I started in business, it wasn't something I wanted to do. I was 12. My father had a business in 1981, and he had 2 partners. One of them saw the money in the bank account, ran away with all the money, and the other partner left him, leaving my dad to pick up the pieces. This is in a wonderful place with sun, sea, and sand, a place called Sunderland. You may not know where it is, but it's a very cold area. Those are the people who are from listening in England. They'll know what I'm talking about. It's not so great. So my family were moved there from Birmingham, which is where I grew up in originally. And my job was to serve customers. And I realized, I had no choice, by the way. It was like 7 days a week, straight after school, and then weekend long hours. And I realized that actually the whole process of even selling what we were doing, selling curry, actually involved the whole education process. And you know what? I worked in the corporate field. I've been in marketing. I've been in sales. I've set up a number of businesses. And I've mentored and coached many, many people over the years. And what I've found is the whole process of doing a business is all about education, sharing knowledge and information which will be used in a practical way by the person you're helping out with. And it could be through products, for example. So I also grew up in a very much a religious background. And what occurred to me was, having moved around the UK and, throughout lived in different parts of the country, I realized that actually there is a connection between all communities, all backgrounds. And, one thing I couldn't get around my head was the whole thing about geographical boundaries, because I was born in a country which is now called Bangladesh. But actually, when I was born, it was called East Pakistan. And only, 25 or so years earlier, 21 years earlier, it was called India. But then I grew up in England, which is part of Great Britain, which is part of UK. And I could not get my head, and I still can't get my head around this thing of borders, because we are all one. I mean, I've just heard Meera, for example, talk about money. And I didn't know, I've never heard of Meera except, until now. And everything she says resonates with me. I totally and utterly agree with what she's saying. So as I grew up in this religious background, I couldn't understand why also there was so much conflict between Catholics and Protestants in Northern Ireland back in those days, between Christians and Muslims, Sikhs and Hindus, or Sikhs and Muslims. And you know what? What I found was that we are all spiritual beings having this whole human experience. And along the way, I discovered that the human experience is actually about transcending ego. And transcending the ego is about moving from one set of illusion to the next. And in my mind, in my experience, and in my mystical experiences that I've had, is actually nothing is real, including money, including you and I, and except love. When I'm saying love, I'm talking about the energy of unconditional love. So we are like in this matrix, and we have come into this human experience, into this particular matrix, and everything is about illusion. So the whole thing that Meera is talking about regarding money is related to your self-esteem, self-worth is totally and utterly correct. It's when we go, if you look at people who are wealthy, you look at Richard Branson, for example, his focus is not money because he's gone beyond that illusion of this is a value exchange and it only represents a value exchange. It is neither anything more or anything less. It is purely a perception. So over the years, particularly since 2002, I set up my own business. I started training people in business and sales and so on. By 2007, though, I started entering and studying a lot more the area of quantum physics. I started having mystical experiences. And I loved quantum physics because it was explaining what I could not understand through religion and through other systems about the connection we have between each of us individual human beings. It is because of these connections that we have what we call synchronicity. For example, I was emailing as a handful of people to join a particular seminar, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a moment, and I ended up speaking to yourself. And the whole point of that particular webinar that I'm doing is to help light workers, or healers, to heal more people and save more people on the planet, save their higher selves. And it's interesting because one of the big areas, important areas, not the main area, but one of the important areas is the whole thing of money. And lo and behold, you invite me on to a show where you're talking about that specific subject. That is not coincidence. That is called a synchronicity. And when we start transcending the illusions of our ego self, we start enjoying more and more synchronicity. So at the moment, what I do is I mentor people. So I mentor specifically evolutionary leaders, entrepreneurs, people who are making a difference to the lives of the many, not just the lives of one or two customers and clients, but the lives of many. I also have my own radio station, as you're probably aware, Untangled FM. I'm an author. I've written one book, another ebook. The first book I wrote was Shattering the Grandest Illusions. And now I'm working on a third book, which is called Living Beyond the Illusion, which I'm sure we'll have another conversation, maybe another day on what.
I would love that, yes.
Yeah. So there's your brief history about my mom.
You're fading a little bit. I don't hear you very well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, I'm saying that is a little overview of my life history in the space of 5 minutes.
Wonderful. Well, I think that it is very serendipitously that I received your message, and I thought you really have to share this so that more people can learn about it. And since it is geographically, spaced in such way that everybody could participate from anywhere in the world, this is the moment when I always say, thank God for internet and telecommunications. And when it works as smoothly as it does today, with the exception of a short disturbance and interruption, we have much to thank the technically minded people who personally I admire for their knowledge and wisdom and how they apply it in technology, but it wouldn't have been the chosen field that I would have explored in.
No, absolutely. Well,
given the fact that we follow our talents, right?
Absolutely. And you're gifted in your special field, and without you, the world would not be such a great place. So each one of us bring our own gifts.
Yes, well, you mentioned a webinar, and this webinar that I'd like to have our listeners know about is called the Lightworker Magic Live Webinar: How to Make a Difference and Make Profits. Now, already the word profits makes a lot of healers cringe. You know, it's like this resonates with people who are in a supermarket. They need profits so that they can stock up again and keep the business running. But honestly, I think profits is a great word because we're not exploiting people, we're actually helping them. So, you know, when you think about a lot of stores, they make lots of profits, but a lot of it is also exploitation. Exploitation of circumstances and times. People run into all sorts of things that they don't need to buy, but they buy them anyway because they fill a space. I just recently watched the film, which is really brilliant, called Shopaholic, and I thought I know so many people out there who would, in an instant, just drop 300 euros or so for a handbag, and they will never go address the real problem, which is that void inside and the self-worth that they're not giving themselves because they need that handbag in order to prove that they have self-worth. And it's really important for lots of people to recall their real divine nature, the value that is given them already by the pure fact that they were born.
It's interesting, the word profit, and I'm going to play with this word with you, if that's okay. Sure. If you look at the word profit, you will find that some of the greatest light workers that ever came onto the planet were prophets. They were sent by the divine, and according to one particular perspective, 125,000 prophets were sent to the planet to bring the message of love, compassion, forgiveness, and oneness. So in my mind, all light workers, yes, they themselves are messengers of light, messengers of love, messengers of compassion. And let's take the angle, call it God, call her universal consciousness, whatever, the higher being, the grand order designer, whatever you want to call this person. We'll call that being, that entity, God. Now, if God created all, and God is the owner of all, then surely God is totally wealthy, completely wealthy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So to get caught up in the whole idea of profit's a problem is really getting one's values a bit mixed up. Because yes, when we think of profits, most people, when they think of profits, they think of the fat cats, the guys who own the big electricity company, or the bankers. They're in the news all the time, who are making abnormal, supernormal profits at the expense of the taxpayer, at the expense of the customers, and for sure they need to be held to account. But when I'm talking about profit, is to say exactly as Meera was saying, actually support what she was saying, which is if you are a light worker and you want to make a difference, and I've worked with hundreds of light workers, some of them extremely closely, okay, very, very closely. If you're a light worker and you are looking to make a difference, wouldn't it be nice if you had a home to go back to? And in that home, wouldn't it be nice if there was groceries there, so you can take home and cook? And wouldn't it be nice if there was a gas there or electricity to keep the house warm? Now, all of these things, doesn't matter how good you are at the law of attraction, chanting ohms and expecting those things to turn up ain't going to work. It's not going to happen. So if you're a light worker, you've got a choice of either going and doing a job where you're working for somebody, so you're a slave to money, so you have to work for money. Either you're doing that and then doing a bit of light work, healing, therapy, whatever, part-time on your weekends. So if you've got a family, it's a bit more difficult. I heard you have 3 children. I've got children as well. So if you've got family, then you don't get so much time to help heal others. You've got that. Or you can say, you know what, I'm not going to work for any money at all. I'm going to live on government social services, government benefits. so which isn't much. I don't know what it's like in Germany and the rest of Europe.
No, it's not much.
US, it's not much at all. It doesn't really cover much. So you can, that's the other option, but then you're still relying on somebody else working. So you're waiting for their money to come through, pay for you, so you can go and heal. But the problem is you're not able to travel, because you're not going to ask the client to give me my travel money. It's embarrassing, right? You're too embarrassed to even ask your client for travel money, so you're not going to go and travel. How are you going to heal them? Or the other option is, set up your own business. Do not take any benefits. Do not charge your clients. Do it for free, and hope that every time you see a client, they give you food, and they give you a bus fare or a train fare or whatever back. Without this illusion, and I do write about this, quite strongly in my book, without this illusion of money, actually, there is no other currently measured value exchange. Once upon a time, if you had goats that you wanted to sell, you could exchange it for chickens. If you wanted to sell bread, you can exchange it for eggs. But you know what? I tried going to my bus driver recently and gave him a bag of eggs. He refused. He still wanted me to pay for the ticket. Does that make sense? So we need to be real about this. Well, apparently he's allergic to eggs. I think. That was my guess. So the point is this. Unless you're somebody who is a yogi, who's been retreating in a cave, chanting ohms for the last 20 years, and then you have that ability to just live off berries and just imagine people healing and healing them, and it can be done. If you want to go down that route, that option is open. But the people I'm talking to are people who grew up somewhere in an urban environment where they've been to school, where there are payments they have to make. And the whole point is that profit isn't an issue. Absolutely not. And people will pay what value they feel you have to offer. So I've charged various rates of money for different clients. And I have to say, I started off, actually, I learned when I was very young. I used to have 2 martial arts schools that I set up. One of them I charged, and this is back in the early 90s, one of them I used to charge, I think it was £1.50, and another one I used to charge £3 a session. What I found was those who were paying more, training that much more harder. Those who were paying more were putting much more effort. Whereas those who were paying less, I have to say they were lazy. And the classes were equal size. There were about 25, 30 people in both classes. So I've seen this, and I've also seen this across, I'm an economist by education, across the board, that if somebody, you will find very few people there on the planet who, normal, ordinary people, who if you give them something for free, they will value it. They don't. So charging them money is getting them to say, you know what, that particular product, that particular healing, I want it so badly, I'm going to go and work a couple of extra hours a week until I'm able to afford it. So for me, it's a non-starter getting stuck in money.
Right. Now, I'm glad we're on the same page, and I also obviously want to remember, one of my clients who taught me in a large way how not valuing yourself will get you really into a lot of very, very petty discussions with clients. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and I'm sure this is something that will ring through with everybody else as well. I've had somebody who really wanted to have my services, and I said, okay, I agree. We will do the whole package, which was at that time quite a proud price. And we will cut it into into installments that you pay for monthly, and so this person agreed to that, and so after a while, she fizzled because she had met a new man. She wanted to change her niche and wanted to do something else. Then she completely changed country because she wanted to live with her new boyfriend or lover or whatever it was. And so she fizzled off the program. And so she also thought that she didn't have to continue paying because apparently my program was not of the value that she wanted. Now, I had a question here for her. did I give you the value and the time at the time where you still wanted it? And she said yes. And did you have success as long as you applied it? And she said yes. And I said, well, then it's just clearly not my responsibility if you're not following through. How do you see things about that?
In terms of, for me, I've had clients who I've sacked, literally because I'm from the old school of Knox. When we went and trained, our job, our instructor will teach us a technique or series of techniques, and our role was to go home, practice that technique, and the following week, not to master it, but actually be proficient enough to go to the next level. I specifically state to my clients that I'm here for your benefit. You're spending, you're investing your time, which is most important, which you can never get, I can never give you back, you can never get back, and exchanging a bit of, digital numbers, money. However, if at the end of the day, if you do not follow through, doesn't matter what amount of time you put in, what amount of money you put in, if you do not follow through by following the action steps we've discussed, then we will initially try to find out, ascertain what it is that is not working for you. And we'll try it twice. By the third time, if you're still not doing it, I'm sorry, you're out. That's it. Because
right.
You know what, there are 7 billion people on the planet, Lydia. 7 billion. There are so many people who need our help, your help and my help. You know what I do? I do volunteer and help other people. But those people, I know they're in such destitute situations that I don't want to have this money discussion. However, those who can afford it are the ones who subsidize them. So my clients don't just pay me. They're actually paying for people who are less fortunate. Does that make sense? So,
Absolutely.
If a client's wasting my time and energy, and those who get caught up with not doing any work, like following through, they're time wasters. I'm sorry. But,
yes.
I am not the right person for them because I want to see results.
Exactly. No, this is exactly my point. I've had only one client like this because I did some inner work on my self-value there, and I never had somebody like this again in I don't know how many years now. But the fact is, and I think what's really important is what you just said is that those clients that pay the price will enable you to make space for those who cannot afford it. And I think that was one of the questions also that we've had on our chat room. Now, we would like to just remind everybody, Haroon Rabbani, what is it exactly that you're doing at the moment in London?
At the moment in London, my focus is twofold. I have a radio station which is building. My own personal focus is mentoring people who are evolutionary leaders who want to become people who want to make a difference to people's lives, and I'm doing that through direct mentoring and also through our webinars, our live masterclasses. So we bring people together online. We do physical ones as well, where they meet up at an event. We're doing it through talks, through workshops, seminars. But the key area that I'm focusing on right now are webinars because I want to reach as many people across the world as possible.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to just give those who are listening to the webcast, or let's say the replay on Blog Talk Radio, who are not participating in our chat here, I'm going to repeat the URL where they can subscribe to for the Lightworker Magic Live webinar on 18th April 2013. And that would be http tinyurl.com/B3L8UK. And that would be tinyurl, tinyurl.com/B3L8UK. And how can people get in touch with you directly, Haroon?
It's very easy to get hold of me. My name is spelled Haroon, Harun, at untangledfm.com. So UNTANGLEDFM.com. That's the radio station. On Haroon at untangledfm.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me on the call. Keep sharing your experience, your thoughts, and for making available a webinar which helps many of those be brilliant in their in their field of expertise and to grow their business and so on. I hope everybody enjoyed it today. Thank you for participating in chat and for coming to our next live show next Friday. I might not be doing a live show. I might have somebody recorded, but we'll see. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.